Well, I almost got all the way through this video once and realized I was babbling and I was trying to pay attention to the GPS and it was frustrating me. So I just hit stop and started over again. Overall, I think that for me, the linchpin of my entire night, whether I would have designated it a good night or a bad night for me personally, was Locatelli making a break. I'll talk about him in a minute. But I want to go over the whole day, unpack the entire day for you really quick. It was a good day leading up to the races. Very excited, very happy to watch Patrick De Piranha, Locatelli, White Tiger. A lot of pressure tonight too. It's not like we were in major stake races in Ontario, but a lot was going on, and some horses were starting their 2022 season for the most part. This late summer, fall, I guess midsummer fall programs are starting up for Locatelli. He's got a lot of stake races coming up tonight. It was important for him. Whereas White Tiger fit in the pecking order. Can he trot full time without hobbles on? We had to make some shoeing adjustments on him because his feet were sore. Did they help? Can he go with those on? There's a lot of questions going to be answered tonight. So I'll get right to it. Just super happy with the way Patrick De Piranha raced. Man, what a nice horse. What a trip. Got away last, 4 wide down the backstretch, 3 wide down the backstretch, 4 wide around the last turn, and get up and 1 by a head to win the Burt Beckwith Memorial. He's just had a tremendous run at Plain Ridge for the stable.ca. Just so happy and proud of the way he raced. Mark and Melissa Beckwith and Bruce Ranger too have done a superb job with this horse. A much better job than I did tonight. First race, Resolute Bay made a break on me. He just didn't feel comfortable the whole night. I talked to Harry after the race and said, I know James says he's bumpy here and there, but a little more than bumpy tonight. I don't know whether maybe he tied up. He was a little bumpy. Yeah, bumpy. A little bit. Yeah, he was bumpy. So, I know, that's what I said. So, Resolute Bay rolled off, but he wasn't comfortable down the backstretch. He was gapped. I couldn't get him trotting properly. So I think we'll draw his blood to see if there's anything found there, and then maybe scoot him up to the vet to see what's found with Resolute Bay. Just a little maintenance either way with him. You're gonna have to pitch that race because that was not him. That wasn't him having, he just wasn't good or I lost him or anything. He just wasn't having a good night. It was a bad night for Resolute Bay. So I'm sure he'll bounce back his next start. And then we went to Tiger and Globetrotting were next. So a lot of questions to be answered with Tiger. Yeah, he raced good last week, but we had to change his shoes because his feet were a little sore over the back of the heel, so we had to go to a flip-flop. Now, a lot of people saying, well, if the flip-flops are causing him to break and do these things, why are we putting them on them? You guys have to understand there's good and bad and everything. You're hearing about the negative side of something going on. I just told somebody this afternoon about Sweet on Pete. You are racing Sweet on Pete with flip-flops on at Scioto. That's the only way to do it. She cannot function without them. She's too foot sore on any sort of track. She's a heavy filly. She needs some support, and those shoes have done her the most good. They have been a detriment from time to time, but you are going to have to take the good with the bad when it comes to those shoes sometimes. You might say, well, is there no other kind of shoe? Sure, we can go out, put different shoes on them, train them a half and 58 and see how they feel. You need to simulate races to actually, or be in races, to get an actual read of how they'll be. You can't just go out and jog them and say, oh, that horse was fantastic today. So much better. It doesn't work that way. You need to have them in a racing situation or in a race. And we did not want to waste training speed or racing speed with White Tiger to find out, so it was going to be tonight. He had flip-flops on, I think, when he was a baby, if I'm not mistaken, but hasn't had them on since he was 2. So, from the rail, it was going to be a tricky time to get him away. I timed him into the gate. I was very happy with the way he got away. Globetrotting got away in front of me. I wasn't happy with the fractions. 28 apiece, 58 apiece. Dead in the water as soon as 58 comes up. I know they're trotting to have 56, no problem. We're in trouble. But at the same token, I was very happy. Keep in mind, last year White Tiger would make breaks getting into the last turn. 2 or 3 times he made that break. Never put a step in. I moved him over. He trotted. Never gave me a feeling at any point in the mile that he was going to make a break. And the last 100 yards were the fastest 100 yards of the entire race. He's ready to go a good mile now. I was very happy with what I saw. And Globetrotting finished up well also. I didn't check the chart lines, but I'm sure they... 27 and what?
27 flat for Globe, 27 and 1.
So 27 flat for Globetrotting, 27 and 1 for White Tiger. That's pretty much what I thought it was. Very, very happy with both of their races. And then we went to Old Check. He jogged at Grand River, but in the other video, I went on a bit of a tirade about how it's frustrating to have a nice horse but not a really nice horse in Ontario. Like Old Check, now one is a 1-2-year-old race, now one is a 2-2-year-old race. Prospect Series, same as Marshall Zukov. They'll do fine. But to win the grassroots, are they going to try? Are they going to pay some 53, 54? Because that's what they have to go at Mohawk, right? 55? Maybe not. It's frustrating. It's frustrating to have a nice horse that has to race against nicer horses. And somebody had said, well, you know what we need to do is pool some money and just get some better Ontario breds this year. No, absolutely not. Ontario is notorious for overpricing their horses. People might be upset with me for saying that, but that's actually the truth. If you look at the sale prices for 2-year-olds across the board in Ontario, it's hard to justify paying that much, paying 70. I was wondering what that smell is too. I thought you tooted. Did you toot?
No.
Oh, well, I don't know what it is. It smells terrible though. Ava, did you toot?
It's like fuel.
Oh, I don't know what it is. You might be the prime suspect.
It's not. It is a truck. Thank you. The 3-year-old knows.
So the frustrating thing is, you know, when you look at those sale prices, some of these horses, 50, 60, 70,000, probably one of the better buys last year. Every year you can find some. If you look, yes, it's yucky. Every year, you know, Nothing But a Dreamer was a real lucky find, and we know what happened. You guys know by now what happened surrounding Nothing But a Dreamer. You know, he looked lame in his yearling video, but when you digest exactly why would a yearling be lame, it would have to be a more of a spot in time than a true lameness for a young horse. Who's going to sell a yearling lame? Just especially a good farm, you know, that raises their horses right. It's just not likely. So it was more that people were turned off by the horse, and it was unfortunate timing for that particular breeding farm, but great timing for us. Those are the type of things where you get lucky sometimes, right? Old Check. You know, even Chocolate for Lunch. Patricia called me, texted me the other day, said, you know, the Dallies get better when they get older, and immediately I wanted to shut her down and say, if she has to go, she has to go. But she did pace 55, her third lifetime start. 55-2. Old Check's already paced 55. Gandalf the Black's already paced 55. Those are decent times for 2-year-olds. Struggling to find a place to race them. So when you factor in the way that I really think I'd like to see Ontario have an overhaul of their program and have a third tier. You see Kentucky going to a third tier. New York already has a third tier. But that third tier has to support people like us. People that are okay with buying a good horse and racing for okay money. Maybe we don't have a gold horse, but if you don't have a gold horse, geez, it'd be nice to have a grassroots horse. And if you don't have a grassroots horse, what do we do then? That question should be answered by the Ontario Sire Stakes program. I had said that the prospect should go for like 15 and be a claimer. That keeps the grassroots horses out of there, but allows us to race our horses where they belong. I think that would be the best way to go, but I just don't think people want to price their horses at 2. And I think that's why it won't fly. That's why nobody's really said, yeah, I like that idea. I think it's a great idea, but that's just me. So, but even when you look at it, Old Check race crew tonight, Gandalf the Black's had his moments also on the track. These horses are going to be decent overnight race horses, just quality animals, but just not sire stake material and fringe grassroots material. We're going to go see the Duckies, aren't we?
Why?
Because you wanted to, don't you? Yeah. Would you like to go see him? Do you like the hot tub though, right? If we go to a hot tub, we go to a hotel, it has to have a hot tub, right? Did you remember you forgot a bathing suit and her floaties?
No, I remember her bathing suit.
Well, if she drowns, it doesn't help her.
You know what?
What?
Remember I asked you to help me pack and you slept inside.
No, don't blame me because you forgot to take your floaties with her. So where do we get those? I think we'll be okay. So, you know, in regards, what?
Weird up on
In regards to Patricia's comment about buying better horses, it's not that you're buying better horses; you're just paying more money for them, right? You have to look at what they're worth, and obviously, yes, you have to look at what they're worth in their jurisdiction, but you can't overpay for those horses. And I'm sorry, but I'm just not paying, you know, $80,000-$90,000 for a horse just to race it in Ontario. It's just not going to happen. We're going to continue using the model we do, using the value-based application that we have on our horses, and hope for a good horse. You know, it's not like we paid $25,000 for Carter Michael Dio. he very well may race in the Hepburn. It might be an extremely nice horse. We paid $35,000 for Crantini. There's lots of horses we paid very little money for that are nice horses, and just because they're not in our jurisdiction of Ontario doesn't mean they won't be. You're going to see better mares. You are going to see the program change a little bit. You are going to see better mares. We have Bulldog Hanover in Ontario. There are going to be opportunities in Ontario moving forward, but we're not going to change the way we buy horses in Ontario or anywhere else just because. If they cost too much, they cost too much. We'll talk about that later in the summer into the fall as we get closer to the races. So as I said, White Tiger raced great. Patrick the Piranha raced fantastic. White Tiger raced great. Globetrotting raced great. Resolute Bay just wasn't his night. I'm certain he'll bounce back just fine next week. Then we needed to go to the next one, who was who. After all check was, yeah. And I got a number of emails and messages from people saying, Anthony, can we please stop with Stay Close? My first reaction was to get a little angry, but then it dawned on me that I didn't articulate why Stay Close was still racing this week. I didn't bring to you exactly why he was in when we preached about giving him time off. So you need to understand there's more to racing than just racing. You know, you have to have foresight. You have to look forward and say, okay, when we do race him, when we bring him back, what's that look like? Well, lots of the races in Ontario, Pennsylvania, Ohio, everywhere, they're based on last 3, last 4, and last 5 races. Different for every jurisdiction. And then you go last 10 also, or average per start. However they can fill classes. But 3, 4, and 5 are usually the way you look at it. Now, dropping off Stay Close's top 5 tonight was 11,500 in that win in the 23,000 class. It was very, very important that that line disappeared. So that when we do race him and we do bring him back, he doesn't have to race in that. He doesn't have to race in that 23,000 or that 20,000 class. He can start lower. Addie. He can start lower where it's beneficial to him and us. So my first reaction was, you know, to be a little frustrated that people were asking me this, but it was a fair question. Adeline, shushies, please. It was a fair question to ask simply because you didn't know, and I didn't tell you. So that is why Stay Close race tonight. I wasn't trying to strain every ounce of soul left out of the horse. That wasn't what we were doing. I was trying to get rid of some of the money on his card so that when he came back, he fit a very good class for us. I think he got hooked up in the last turn too, Michael said, but it looked like he was backpedaling a bit. Yeah, that's what I heard. So, in his regard, that is why he raced tonight. So, certainly not your fault. I didn't tell anybody. I didn't make that clear enough to anybody. Now, in regards to our boy Locatelli, he almost made a break on me coming out of the gate and on James coming out of the gate last year. You got to watch him at the gate. We gave him time off and brought him back. He seemed fine. I come on the track. I thought his hobbles were a little bit long, but you know, he raced last year without them. And he just felt so good going up to the gate, but he was anxious also. He wanted to fight. He's fresh. And as they started to go to the gate, I just want to get away 4th or 5th. Just as I said in my other video, channel my inner James. Just stay along the rail. And I just grabbed him a little bit coming out of the gate, and he just got a little antsy and rolled off on me. I near line. And just as I was coming up to the gate, I said, you know, probably should bring this horse in slow to the gate. And then I said, nah, he's fine. He seems great. The horse trotting fantastic tonight. So that's on me. That break was on me. It wasn't on Locatelli. And if you watch the rest of the race, he's ready to go mile 53 or 54 right now. Harry definitely has him in a good spot and has him looking great and feeling great. As I caught up to the pack, I just wanted to have him finish up strong. And I just kind of shot him through a blind switch and then again at the wire. And he finished up very strong with the earplugs in. He's ready to go right now. And I'll talk to James about it, but he's ready to race him next week. The horse just is in incredible shape and looks very, very good. Tonight was just a lack of attention on his part, and quite frankly, a lack of attention on my part also. So that means Stay Close. Sailor, I knew going over to Grand River, again, we talk about flip-flops on horses. That is a terrible, terrible track to race a horse with flip-flops on. But Sailor was a little unique in the sense that his feet do hurt him. He is a lot better with flip-flops on. And over the last 2 weeks, the issue that I had with Sailor was I let that go on too long. I talked to Dominic, and we talk about dropping money off horses, but you can't race them at 50-1 to drop money off them. It's just a stupid way to race horses, and I hate doing it. So for 3 starts, we raced him over. Finally, I said, that's enough. Just put the horse in the 11,000 class at Grand River, and then we can race him in horses that raced for a purse of less than 15,000, where he was 1, 2, 3 in a factor. You can only do that for 4 starts, then they kick you out. Fine. Then after that, you go back to Grand River. Now we'll change. Next time we go back to Grand River, use our heads, take the flip-flops off him, race the horse, and then go back to Mohawk again with him. That is how we're going to have to manage this horse throughout the fall. And at some point, he may need a rest too. Although he had just started in March when we bought him. He just started. It was his first start after his first start back, I think. So we'll keep an eye on him like that. But his last 2 starts were a waste. Tonight, I know exactly what happened. I saw him pick up speed behind the gate and roll off. That horse doesn't run. Not like that. Never. Would not happen. I think he just spun his wheels with those flip-flops on, touched himself, and made a break. So he'll be back to Mohawk. But we have to pay closer attention to what we do with Sailor moving forward in regards to managing them and not wasting starts. And again, that's a trial and error thing on our part, and quite frankly, something that we have to be responsible for also. So, Brave World was scratched tonight. You guys know that. He had a little cut in his ankle that was a little sore and bothering him. And Harry said, listen, we got the 7 hole. Can we just scratch him and race him next week? I said, of course we can. So that's exactly what we did with Brave World tonight. Not a big deal. He'll be back at it in a week or so. It'll probably keep him out of that sale, actually. The next preferred sale, we'll race him in the bottom class, preferred 3, hopefully twice. And then at that point, the next sale will come along. We'll likely have Brave World in the sale on August the 15th-ish, somewhere around there. And that's just going to be cleaning up our stable as we head into the end of Sire Stakes season for a lot of jurisdictions and into sale season for us here at the stable. So that is a look at tonight, what went on, what didn't go on, what happened, what didn't happen. But overall, very happy with what I saw from Patrick the Piranha, Old Czech, Globetrotting, White Tiger. A few little mistakes made tonight. One by me for sure, one by Resolute Bay. But you know what? They'll be fine next week and back at it. The McDonald family is on their way right now to Northfield Park. They'll get there shortly after midnight. That's wrong. No possible way that's possible.
It's way off.
No, not close. We will get there shortly after midnight tonight, and then off to the Meadows, and then the Scioto, and then a whole lot of cool places all week long. So a lot of fun coming up for us as a family. I know Amy loves to drive around. She loves it so much. But Addie Bear likes it. You like to drive and go see the Duckies, right?
Yeah.
High five. Say, see you, everybody, going to Ohio. Talk to you all soon. Take care.